Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Assembly Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. Before we go further, Madam Secretary, please take the roll.
Assemblywoman Dickman. Here. Assemblyman Frierson. Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Assemblywoman Howdegi. Here. Assemblyman Levitt. Here. Assemblyman Matthews. Here. Assemblyman MacArthur. Here. Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Assemblywoman Thomas. Assemblywoman Torres. Here. Chair Miller.
Thank you, and please mark the other members present when they arrive. Just a few little housekeeping notes. We will have up to a half hour of public comment at the end of the agenda. We have 2 bills on the agenda for today. And just to remind everyone too, that would be either on Zoom or calling in to testify, that please remember to state your name clearly and spell it for the record. The first hearing, we have 2 bills today that we will hear. We'll hear Senate Bill 82 and Senate Bill 84. The first bill that we will hear, it will be presented by Senator Ratty, and it revises provisions for when the name of a candidate must appear on the ballot for the charter of the city of Sparks. So Senator Ratty, if you would like to come up, I will officially open the hearing on Senate Bill 82. And Senator, I realize you may need a few minutes to get settled, but please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. Again, my name is Senator Julia Ratty, and I represent Senate District 13, which is sort of the middle or urban core of Reno and Sparks. I have downtown Reno, but I am also lucky enough to have downtown Sparks, and a lot of my district is a good chunk of Sparks. Today, I'm here to introduce this bill on behalf of the City of Sparks Charter Committee. And so just as a gentle reminder, I'm sure you all know this, but there are some cities in the state of Nevada that are formed through NRS, and they don't necessarily have their own organizing document. And then there are other cities known as charter cities, and they have their own organized document. It is called a charter, and is very similar to, say, a constitution for a state or for the federal government. These are the rules under which the city operates. In the state of Nevada, as all local governments are part of the state, if the city would like to amend their charter, they have to come to the legislature and ask to make those changes. In the city of Sparks, how this is handled, and I'll just remind folks that I was on the Sparks City Council for 8 years, and so I got to see this firsthand in that role. In the city of Sparks, what we do is we have a charter committee, and that committee is comprised of an appointee from every legislator who has a portion of Sparks that they represent, every city council member, and the mayor of Sparks. So we all make an appointment to this charter committee, and then that charter committee reviews the charter and makes any recommendations for changes. While the city of Sparks does have 1 bill draft that they can use for their own legislative agenda, it has been tradition not to give that to the charter committee, only to keep a level of distance between the council, the government of the city, and the charter committee and their recommendations. And so that leaves the charter committee always needing to find a legislator to carry their charter committee bill. And for the past 3 sessions, that legislator has been me. So I am here merely to introduce the bill, to let you know that I agree with the concept and I endorse the concept, but really it's not my bill. It is the bill coming from the Charter Committee of the City of Sparks. And so I'm here to introduce you to Bob LaRiviere, who is the citizen-appointed chair of the Sparks Charter Committee, and Wes Duncan, who is maybe familiar to some of you in the building, but in this role is the Chief Assistant City Attorney for the City of Sparks. So with that, and with your indulgence, Chair Miller, I am chairing HHS right now, where Assemblywoman Thomas is presenting a bill. And so I'm going to leave you in the very good hands of Bob and Wes and run back to my committee to continue chairing. Please do give them a good chance at a hearing, and be a little hard on them if you want, because the folks in the city of Sparks are tough and they can take it.
We're going to be super hard, especially on Duncan. So yeah, we're good. Thank you, Senator. And please send Assemblywoman Thomas back. What? Okay, so whoever is going to continue, please proceed. Thank you, Senator.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Bob.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob LaRiviere, LA_RIVIERE. I am the current chairman of the Sparks Charter Committee. I've been on this committee for several years. The Charter Committee voted to amend back in 2016, going back 5 years, voted to amend Charter Section 5.010, which changes the general election for council seats from citywide voting to ward-only voting. So while working with the Legislature Council Bureau, Senator Julia Ratti and Wes Duncan, the Assistant City Attorney, we decided to make some amendments and changes. So what we're proposing today is if there's only one applicant for an office, that candidate is declared the winner and will not appear on the ballot. If there are two candidates for the office, their names will appear on the general ballot. So I'm going to turn this over to Wes Duncan, if you don't mind at this time. He's the Chief Assistant City Attorney with the City of Sparks. Wes?
Thank you, Bob. Chair Miller, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Wes Duncan, Chief Assistant City Attorney for the City of Sparks, here to present on SB 82. And, really what this bill does, to boil it down, is this bill seeks to ensure that, as Senator Ratti said, that the city charter, specifically section 5.020, which governs our elections within the city, mirrors the provisions that are already set in place in NRS, specifically NRS 293C 180, NRS 293C .175 sub 5, and NRS 293C .387 sub 8. And the City of Sparks, just as way of background, has been operating under the procedures laid out in NRS 293C as its guide, as was passed in the 2019 session. But just to ensure that the charter is conforming with NRS, that's why this bill has come forward. So really what I'll do, I'll walk you through the technical aspects of the bill, and I'll also give you the reference to the NRS that our charter is now hoping to mirror. So for example, in section 1, paragraph 2 of the bill that you have before you, the changes that you see for this bill seek to conform with NRS 293C .180 subs 1 through 3. So part A just essentially means if only one candidate is filed at the end of a filing, they are declared the winner, and then they don't even go on the ballot for the general election. For B, if only two people have filed, instead of having a primary election, there's no primary election, they go directly to the general election. And for C, if there are 3 or more people that have filed by the end of filing, there's going to be a primary. Again, that all conforms the exact language from NRS 293-180. If you look at paragraph 3A of this bill, that part of the charter is seeking to conform with NRS 293C 175-5, and paragraph 3B seeks to make that change. This essentially says if there are 3 or more candidates in the primary, and if one person gets 50% and 1 vote, they are declared the winner, and there's going to be no general election. Otherwise, the top 2 vote getters go to the general election. And finally, section 2 of the bill, paragraph 3, that's seeking to mirror the language that's in NRS 293C 387 sub 8. This essentially says the city council must certify the results within 10 days, or in the case of last year, within 13 days if there's a declared emergency. And so for example, in the city of Sparks, the election was held on November 3rd in 2020, and the election canvass was held 13 days later because of the pandemic and the emergency on November 16th. And that's really what the bill does. Again, this body passed language because of the ward voting and everything in 2019. And so the language that you see in the charter seeks just to mirror what's already in NRS. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And Chair Miller, be tough on me.
Oh, you've come to the right committee, sir. So,
All right, all right.
first up, we have Assemblyman Levitt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So these provisions, they seem similar to provisions that are in other municipalities currently. I know that in my hometown, Boulder City, they have a very similar provision where if there's a singular candidate, they go straight to the general, or they're essentially elected by acclamation, and don't even go on the ballot. And as well as if there's only one open seat, it's a 50% plus one, even if there's 30 candidates in the race. So are you mirroring these provisions after other municipalities, or are you recreating something that's not been done before, or are they mirroring other municipalities?
For the record, Wes Duncan. So, Assemblyman, what we're doing is we're mirroring what's already in state law. And so those provisions that I testified to just now, 293C 180, subparts 1 through 3, 293C 175, subpart 5, and NRS 293C 387, sub 8. Those are already in state law. This body codified those in 2019. And so every municipality should be operating under what's already in state law. So we are not reinventing the wheel. We just want our charter language to comply with NRS.
Follow up, Madam Chair? Yes, please. So is it my understanding that you can't currently do this unless it's in the charter, or because Boulder City is a charter community as well? Is it something that you cannot do without adding it to the charter, or are you just trying to solidify the charter with current state law?
Thank you. For the record, Wes Duncan. So the city of Sparks has been operating to conform with the state law. We're merely wanting to make sure that the charter is staying, the same language that's in the charter isn't in conflict at all with state law. We obviously, as a city, have to comply with state law. We've been complying with state law. We just want to ensure that our constitution for our city conforms with what this body has said is the law as it regards, as it relates to municipal elections. I hope that answers your question.
It did. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Any additional questions from members? Well, not seeing any questions right now, we can move into testimony for anyone who would like to testify in support. So if there's anyone that would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 82, please come forward, and you will have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Michael Hillerby, representing the City of Sparks, and a Sparks resident here today to support the bill. I want to thank Mr. LaRiviere and the members of the Charter Committee for their hard work, and Mr. Duncan for the excellent presentation. And as he said, we want to be sure that the charter mirrors the changes made in state law. We thank you for your time and attention and your support.
Thank you. Thank you. Not seeing anyone else in the room that would like to come forward to testify in support. Do we have anyone on Zoom that would like to testify in support? Or are these the only 2 individuals we? Okay. If there's anyone on Zoom that would like to testify in support, please state your name clearly for the record and spell it, and you will have 2 minutes. Okay, not seeing anyone in Zoom, then broadcasting, can we open the lines for anyone that would like to testify on the phones in support of SB 82?
Chair, the testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one to testify in support on AB 62. Oh, pardon me, on SB 60. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to get it. SB 82.
Perfect. Thank you so
Now I got
much. With that, I will open up the testimony for anyone that would like to testify in opposition. I don't see anyone in the room approaching to testify in opposition, so broadcasting, do we have anyone on the lines that would like to testify in opposition?
Chair, there is no one to testify in opposition to SB 82 on the line.
Okay, I will go ahead and open it for neutral. Anyone wishing to testify in neutral? There's no one here in the room. Broadcasting, do we have anyone on the line that would like to testify in neutral?
Chair, the testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one to testify in neutral on SB 82.
Okay, thank you. And just to be clear, because I'm not sure if I'm seeing everyone on the Zoom or just a few individuals, is there anyone in Zoom who wants to testify in neutral? Okay, I will close testimony in neutral. With that, I will ask our bill presenters if you have any final words.
Chair Miller and members of the committee, again, Wes Duncan for the record. No, we're appreciative of Senator Ratty, who's been very supportive of the city of Sparks for helping us out with this bill, and appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, and good to see you back here in committee. Thank you. With that, I will go ahead and close the hearing on Senate Bill 82, and we'll open the hearing on Senate Bill 84. And we have our Majority Leader, Canizaro, who is here to present Senate Bill 84 for us. And this is a measure relating to basically changing the number of registered voters within an election precinct. So, Majority Leader, when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Chair Miller and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nicole Canizaro, and I serve as a senator from Senate District 6, which is located in the northwest portion of the Las Vegas Valley. And I am pleased to come before you today to present to you Senate Bill 84, which proposes to increase the maximum size of election precincts. Chair Miller, with your permission, I would like to do a bit of testimony on this bill, and then we do have, I believe, joining us by Zoom, who would be available for any additional insight and also questions from members of the committee, our county registrars, Joe Gloria and Deanna Spicula, to answer any additional questions that you may have as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. So by way of background information, during the 2019-2020 legislative interim, I was fortunate enough to sit on the legislature's committee to conduct an interim study of the requirements for reapportionment and redistricting in the state of Nevada. Joining me on that committee were our colleagues who are on this committee, Speaker Frierson, who also serves as the vice chair of the study, Assemblywoman Howdegee, and Assemblyman Levitt. This study is held every 10 years in advance of the redistricting session to help us prepare for that redistricting exercise and essentially setting the stage for our redistricting efforts in 2021. As you are aware, due to delays in the delivery of necessary data from the United States Census Bureau, we will be unable to conduct reapportionment and redistricting during this regular legislative session. As part of its discussions, however, the interim study did hear from local election administrators who shared considerations and input regarding political boundaries and precincts and the potential impacts of redistricting on election administration. Census geography, specifically census blocks, are the basis for any redistricting plan, and Nevada's census blocks share the same boundaries as our election precincts. Testimony from the Clark County and Washoe County registrars of voters indicated that in some cases, certain areas of their counties could accommodate precincts with more than 3,000 active registered voters, the current statutory maximum. Moreover, under the vote center model that is currently used by Nevada's counties for the past few election cycles, assigning voters to a single polling location is no longer necessary, thereby allowing for those larger precincts. The registrars further noted that being able to assign more voters into one precinct would be helpful in avoiding the splitting into multiple precincts of certain high-density population areas, such as larger apartment complexes or certain neighborhoods. Finally, it was noted that since the proposed increase sets forth a maximum number of active voters per precinct, jurisdictions such as rural counties could continue to create smaller precincts as needed or leave existing precincts unchanged. Essentially, Senate Bill 84 is quite simple in its application. It allows for the flexibility to have those larger precincts while not necessarily mandating that where it doesn't make sense. As you can see, it does amend Nevada Revised Statutes 293.207 to increase from 3,000 to 5,000 registered voters the maximum size of a particular precinct. With that, Chair Miller, I would turn it over to our county registrars for any additional input that they would like to add, and then would remain open for questions from members of the committee. Thank you.
Please proceed. I know you can't see us nodding, but yes, please proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Joe Gloria, Registrar of Voters in Clark County, Nevada. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. I won't take too much of your time. Thank you for the opportunity to come forward. We are in support of the bill. It does not impact voters as it might have in the past before we have implemented the vote centers. With the vote center model, the increase in the number of voters wouldn't impact polling places by creating a strain for those voters who had to go to a particular polling place. So this does make it easier for us to manage the growth, especially in the urban area here in Clark County. And so we are in support of the bill. And if you have any questions related to this issue, please just let me know. I'm available.
Thank you for that, Mr. Gloria. Ms. Spicula, do you have anything to add?
Thank you very much, Chairwoman Miller. I appreciate the opportunity to testify just in support of letting our population and precinct allocations grow as our population grows. As Registrar Gloria mentioned, we no longer are assigning voters to polling locations based on their precinct assignments. People can go and vote at any vote center during early voting and election day. So those assignments of precincts to polling locations are no longer necessary and are no longer used, therefore allowing our precincts to organically grow is definitely something that we can accommodate, and it does eliminate the need for us to unnecessarily split precincts simply because they've reached that cap. So I'm very much in favor of this bill, and I very much appreciate it being brought forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Majority Leader, do you have anything to add before we open it up for questions?
No, Chair Miller, at this point in time, we'd be happy to take any questions that members of the committee may have.
Okay, thank you. Members, do we have any questions? I see a question from Assemblyman Levitt.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the intent of this is not to redraw larger precincts. It's essentially to allow precincts that currently exist to organically grow as they increase in population as they're currently drawn? Or is it more of the intent to draw larger precincts?
Nicole Canizaro, Senate District 6. Thank you, Assemblyman, for the question. Through you, Chair Miller, to Assemblyman Levitt. The intent of this is to allow for precincts to be drawn larger where it does make sense. So it just increases the maximum number of voters that can be in a particular precinct from 3,000 to 5,000. And so with redistricting, you may see that precincts change their boundaries, and that's a natural process of redistricting in drawing lines of things even such as precincts. But what the intent of this is that, for example, one of the most common examples that we even heard during the committee's meetings was where you may have like a very large apartment complex. Before, those may have been split because there were too many voters in that particular precinct once you included the apartment complex, and they used to have to be assigned to particular polling locations based on their precinct. But now in Nevada, we use a vote center model of voting. So you can vote at any vote center, regardless of where your particular precinct is. So now if we can draw a precinct where an entire apartment complex is located, rather than trying to draw an arbitrary line through the buildings in the middle of the complex, then that allows for that precinct to be just a little bit larger and allows for some of that fluctuation, which I think to Registrar Spicula, and I'll let her I guess explain more if she would like, but I think her point was that because we naturally have some areas where there may be more voters centralized because of population density, that this would allow for that flexibility where those precincts simply should be a little bit larger. But that's all a process of redistricting in terms of drawing the lines.
So is there, and excuse my ignorance because I don't know much about how precincts come to fruition, but is it, do you not have the ability to create a new precinct? Is that something that you cannot do? Is that?
Nicole Canizaro, Senate District 6, through you, Chair Miller, to Assemblyman Levitt. Thank you for the question. Thank you, Chair. You can draw additional precincts, but I think the issue becomes where you have so many voters in a particular area that it becomes impossible to not split up either a particular neighborhood or a particular apartment complex or a particular high-density population area, where this would allow for that flexibility. So you have one precinct, which I believe, and I will let Registrar Gloria or Registrar Spicula speak to this as well, will allow some better ability for them in terms of printing ballots and making sure that everybody is in the same area, which is less important now because we do have that vote model or voting center model of voting.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Any additional questions from members? Or Registrar Spicula, did you want to respond?
I just wanted to provide maybe some more background, but yes, the intention is not to go and split or create new election precincts necessarily, just with redistricting. And again, as Senator Canizaro said, some of our apartment complexes, we have some neighborhoods around our colleges that have new dorms that are being put up. We have a lot of urban areas that are condensing by doing high-rise and new apartment complexes and other high-density options within our urban core, allowing our precincts to be able to absorb the additional voters without us having to create new precincts is definitely a benefit to our office. Managing those precincts with every precinct we have, all the districts that are associated with them, and making sure that all of those are correctly defined and all the street ranges are in those precincts and everything lines up. It's very tedious. So allowing, like I said, these areas to grow and not necessarily have to split a precinct just because they are starting to get close to that maximum cap is definitely a benefit for our offices. And again, voters can go to any location. They're no longer assigned precinct-specific polling locations. So there's no downside to our voters. It just really helps us with the administration of the election and managing our districts and our precincts. Thank you.
And thank
Joe
you.
Gloria, Registrar of Voters in Clark County.
Yes.
Just very simply to add to Registrar Spicula, it's all administrative. So the districts don't change for these voters. They're still voting for the same representative. So it would just become an increase in us as far as cost and administrative efforts to send out notifications to these voters to unnecessarily split precincts. I'm in agreement with Registrar Spicula. Thank you.
Thank you to you both. We have another question from Assemblywoman Dixon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm just curious, are we at that 3,000 with a lot of our precincts? Are you at a point where you would need to start creating new precincts?
I'm Registrar Spicula, Deanna Spicula from Washoe County. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And through Chairman Miller to Assemblywoman Dickman, we are at a cap at some of our, especially downtown areas. around college campuses. There's many areas that we have extreme growth in the South Meadows area. So we are reaching, if not already exceeding those caps from the last election cycle. So we are looking at having to split those. Again, we will probably doing a lot of that work with redistricting, depending on how the lines are drawn. But yes, we are looking at some of those areas that have grown past the current cap, and definitely will be challenging even the $5,000 maximum cap when we get to that, if this is passed.
Thank you, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Any additional questions from members? Speaker Frierson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank the sponsor for bringing this bill. I recognized when I first read the bill that Nevada has the third smallest number, at least in the assembly, in the country. So that means that we are serving a larger number of the public than a lot of other states. We certainly aren't the third smallest state. So the notion of providing flexibility to deal with the populations that are like populations, to me, seems to make complete sense. We're not changing, their districts, as I believe Mr. Gloria said, but providing the folks on the front line with the flexibility to meet the needs of the people in their community seems to make complete sense, particularly considering how many more members of our districts in the public we serve compared to other states, in particular similarly situated states that have urban and rural areas, spread out areas. We recognize that we have, lots of federal land that connects people, and if the local election officials know what those communities are like and can form precincts that help, meet those precinct members' needs, I think they certainly deserve the flexibility to do that.
Thank you, Speaker. Anyone else with a question? Not seeing any additional questions, then we can move into support testimony. So there's no one here in the room to come forward to testify in support. So Broadcasting, if you could open the lines for anyone that would like to testify in support.
Chair, this is Michael from Broadcast. The testimony line is open and working. However, we have no one on the line to testify in support for SB 84.
Okay, thank you. I will open up the lines to see if we have anyone that would like to testify in opposition of Senate Bill 84.
Chair, there is no one on the line to testify in opposition to SB 84.
Okay, we'll close that, and let's go ahead and open up the line for anyone that would like to testify neutral for Senate Bill 84.
Chair, there is also no one on the line to testify in neutral for SB 84.
Okay, thank you for that. With that, a Majority Leader, do you have any final remarks?
Thank you, Chair. Nicole Canizaro, Senate District 6. I again just wanted to thank the committee for hearing Senate Bill 84, and a thanks to Registrar Spicula and Registrar Gloria for joining us and being able to help assist in answering questions. And happy to have any additional discussions on this bill that members of the committee may have. But again, just thank you so much for having me here in Assembly Legislative Operations and Elections.
Thank you so much. And with that, I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 84. The next item on our agenda is public comment. So again, just to remind everyone that you'll have up to 2 minutes to make a public comment about something that's within the purview of this committee. And please state your name clearly for the record and spell it. Broadcasting, if you could open up the lines for anyone interested in making a public comment. We don't have anyone here in the room coming forward at this time.
Chair, this is Michael from Broadcast. The public comment line is open and working. However, we have no callers at this time.
Okay, we'll wait just another moment because we know we're a minute or so behind for those watching online. Broadcasting, does it appear that anyone has dialed in?
Chair, there are still no callers at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. So I will go ahead and close public comment. Just want to thank committee members for your attention and your efforts today. This was the last thing on our agenda, so I will go ahead and adjourn for the day, and I will see you all Thursday, April 29th at 4 o'clock. With that, this meeting is adjourned.